of lyric essays. Look, here's Mr. G. I gave you guys a couple examples, and in the lyric handout for this week, week 4, you'll see Anne Carson and David Shields, and I'm just going to quickly talk about those two examples. Bluets, of course, is a lyric essay, but we're going to really use the Moodle discussion to kind of tease out the form of a lyric essay and how Maggie Nelson is using that. David Shields has that little piece that I put in the handout called Why I Live in the Movies. And instead of arguing or attempting to understand something about our culture or why we're so obsessed with Hollywood or bringing in sort of statistics about young people obsessing over Miley Cyrus, he tells a story about a speaker wearing sunglasses, and that speaker, that little anecdote becomes a metaphor or a comparison, and we, the reader, have to come in the way that we do in poetry and make sense of what the argument is. So in that case, he's using image and metaphor to make sense of something in our culture. Anne Carson, in her little pieces, those pieces are called short talks. She is, each one is titled on waterproofing or on rain or on reading. So the titles themselves are essay titles. That is sort of, suggesting here is going to be a meditation on a topic and I'm going to attempt to understand something. And yet she does so by telling a story, by meditating, by mixing, image into narrative, and so by the end of those pieces, you feel like you've kind of read a poem or a prose poem, and yet you also understand that she's trying to make sense of whatever the topic is that she's introduced in the title. So those are just two quick examples. I don't want to lecture closely on how they're working as essays, because I want you guys to be thinking about that. So to sum up, Mr. G, the lyric essay is an essay that, like all essays, it attempts to understand something. It makes that attempt. It may not understand it, but the attempt itself is the end. That is the purpose or the intention of literary essay, is to reach for an answer. And that reaching is probably the best answer we can get. I like to use the expression essay to unknow, that really we're trying to understand how little we know.